Hi there, Sandy here. Welcome to another polymer clay video at my YouTube channel and my blog at keepsakecrafts.net. Today I'm going to show you how to make a simple polymer clay cane with which you can make this pendant or any pendant that you like. I call it the water lily cane because it kind of reminds me of Claude Monet's water lilies. So to make this cane you will need to choose some colors, white, and then 3 colors that you like that go well together. And then you'll also need some black to wrap your cane. So for everything except the black, you want to roll it out on the thickest setting of your pasta machine, and then just cut strips that are about the same width as they are thick. And you can cut as many or as few as you like. For this, I found that 4 somewhere around 2 inches long was just right to make this pendant. Then you're just going to start arranging them in rows. Just put in 1 of each color and then start again putting in 1 of each color. They don't have to be in the same order until you have something that looks like this. And then just take an acrylic roller and roll over all of it to kind of meld it all together until you can pick it up with your clay blade and send it through your pasta machine. And then once you've sent it through once, give it a fold just a little offset, like half a strip offset. You just want to blend the colors a little. Fold it, send it through the pasta machine, fold first, and then repeat that. You don't have to offset it after the first time. Sending it through 4 or 5 times, just until you start to get a blend. Then you can roll it out onto a thinner setting, trim any ragged edges, and then just take this whole thing and roll it up. You can smooth that seam. Then you'll take your black clay, roll that into a thin sheet, like a medium thin, maybe a 7 setting on your pasta machine where 9 is the thinnest. And trim those edges as you need. And then go ahead and roll this cane up in the black. This will give you that nice border of black around your whole cane. And the way you can perfectly wrap a cane is, this is why I use the razor to cut this edge nice and straight. Cut these edges flush with my cane. Roll it up. Press that edge into the clay. Now, it can be hard to see on camera, but you can see a mark there with that edge of the clay pressed into it. And that way it's perfectly wrapped. And then you're just going to smooth that seam and roll this cane out until it's about 1/4 of an inch in diameter. The next thing you'll need is a bit of clay that's a color that's close to one of the colors that you started with, or you can use one of them. This is just going to be a backing sheet, and I like to use a color that works with the others in case a little bit of it shows through, although it usually doesn't. So I have this rolled out again on about a 6 or 7 setting. And now you just take your blade and start cutting 1/8 inch slices, or a little bit less. And then place them in the order that you cut them onto your sheet. And the size sheet that you use will depend on what size pendant you're going to make. And don't worry if they're not perfectly even, it'll be fine. And then when you come back to do another row, you can either zigzag back and forth like this, or you can just start again at the other row. It doesn't really matter. But to make these fit together nicely, just stagger them so that the one in the row beneath is between the 2 above it. Now for the base of your pendant, you can make it any shape you want. You can use clay cutters, you can make it circular, you could cut a hole out of the center and make a donut shape, anything at all. What I've done is I've sketched out a heart that I like, just a nice kind of interesting heart shape, on a piece of index card. You want to trace that heart onto another piece of index card, and then use a pencil just to trace inside about 1/8 of an inch and cut out another one. So you have 2, one slightly smaller than the other. Then just cut both of those out of a piece of scrap clay. So once you have your 2 shapes cut out of the scrap clay, you can just lay the smaller one on top And then take a little time to smooth down the edges so they're nice and rounded and smooth, and shape it the way you like, as this will be the base of your pendant. So here's my scrap sheet with all of the canes placed on it. And the next thing you want to do is just take your acrylic roller and roll lightly over this to press them all in to the sheet. Then you're going to roll this through your pasta machine. Start on the thickest setting and then keep rolling it until it's the size that you want your pieces to be. Now you can distort these if you want to by continuing rolling in the same direction, and it will elongate in the direction that you roll it. But if you want them to stay the same direction, just turn it a quarter turn every time you roll it. So here's mine. I rolled it down to about a number 4 setting, so 4 turns through the machine. So here's my finished heart base. I've just used my thumbs and my fingers to smooth down those 2 pieces so they're one nice domed shape. And now I'm just going to decide how I want these oriented. And the best thing to use to smooth your sheet down to your shape is a piece of parchment paper. That way you can really burnish it on, but you won't be getting fingerprints. You won't risk damaging it with fingernails or anything. Just burnish it on all along, and then use your blade to lift the whole thing up, flip it over, and use a craft knife to cut about 1/8 of an inch outside that line. Then again, hold it with your parchment paper and you could smooth those edges up, and then you can use a nice sharp blade to trim them level with the back of your pendant. So here's my heart. I've added my veneer, and now we can just add a backing. What I did here was I took a bunch of my scraps left over and I just mixed them all together and got a single color, and that will be my backing. And then you can just take a clay blade and just ever so slightly undercut. That will make it easier to smooth the seams of your piece. And then you just want to pick it up and do a nice job. Again, I should be handling it with my parchment paper, but I don't know where it went. But you just do a nice job of smoothing the backing. And then there's one final thing that I like to do. You don't have to, but I think it adds something. On this one you can see I just added some white flowers and some leaves to decorate it. So for the flowers, I start with a little ball of clay. I'm using a color so you can see what I'm doing here. Just about a 1/4 inch ball of clay, and then you're going to roll that into about 1/8 of an inch snake. Use your acrylic roller to just roll that flat onto the tile. And then take a soft tip tool, just some kind of a sculpting tool, and go ahead and poke in indents. These will be your petals. So instead of having to apply individual petals like you may have seen on many ways of making clay roses, this is just a kind of a quick and dirty way. And unless you want a really tight rose, be sure to scoop it up from the tile before you start rolling it. And then you can just roll that up, keeping the petals at about the same level. And then go ahead and roll this bottom part in your fingers. It kind of opens up those petals, although you can use your tool as well to further shape them. And then you can use your blade to trim off the excess. And to make sure they stick to my heart, I like to use a little bit of transparent liquid Sculpey. Any kind of liquid clay or a bacon bond will do. And I just put a little on my heart and then add my flowers. And again, you can use your tool to adjust and sculpt those before you bake them. These leaves start with an 1/8 inch ball of clay, and then you just use one finger, roll that into a little bit of a cone, use a piece of paper to flatten it out into a teardrop, adjust the shape, and then use some sort of needle tool, or you can use a razor blade. I've been using this tool lately. I love the fact that it's offset. It makes it really easy to get in here. And make your veins. Use a blade to pick it up, and then gently pinch it, fold it, shape it however you want. And then I'll use this tool to actually pick them up and then place them right where I want. And add as many or as few as looks good to you. And now you can put your heart on a piece of index card. If you bake it right on this tile, your back will be shiny. So put it on a piece of paper or card and bake it at the manufacturer's recommended temperature for at least an hour. Now you may notice I didn't do any stringing holes. You certainly could, but I really like this shape and I don't want to risk distorting it, so I'm going to drill a hole after it's baked. For links to the tools and materials used in this project, you can click here to go to the accompanying blog post. So here's another look at the project we made today. I hope that you enjoyed this technique and that you'll give it a try. Try your own favorite color combinations and shapes, and have fun creating and making it your own. Thank you so much for watching Keepsake Crafts videos. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, please do for 3 new videos every week. I upload on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and share. Make sure to follow me on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, and on my blog. Happy creating. Bye-bye.